Welcome to another live edition of the Knicks Nation podcast. We are here for episode 16. It is July 19th. I'm your host, Anthony. That is Chris. Chris, what is going on, brother?
Not much, man. Doing good. Enjoying, the off season. Just, baking away on this hot summer, man. How about you, man? How are you?
I'm baking away indeed, and the summer is baking away indeed. Summer League is now over. We're going to touch on some Evan Fournier comments today. We're going to touch on some Eastern Conference standings debates that me and Chris have had, and we're going to touch on the Isaiah Roby's performance, some Embiid mock trades that we have for you guys. But first, some housekeeping. If you're new here, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that thumbs up button. Also, support the channel. Join for a fee of $4.99 a month. You can just join and get unlock some cool perks on that end as well. But Chris, Summer League has ended. We have Evan Fournier ripping the New York Knicks. Where do you want to start?
You know what? Let's go with a little bit of a Summer League recap.
Okay.
We'll save the juicy stuff for a little bit later.
Some quick Summer League recap. Obviously, the name out there that we wanted to all witness was Isaiah Roby. Every Knicks fans was like craving for his play on the court, and we were like, can this dude, be in the rotation? It was going to be hard for him to be in the rotation anyway, but we wanted to see his game. Obviously, he was with the Thunder, the Spurs, and recently the New York Knicks Summer League. And Chris, but he had some flashes. He had some good flashes, but all in all, in my opinion, he didn't really impress. He didn't really pass the eye test. And let me just go over his stats right here that I can pull up for you guys. His stats: 8 points, 5 rebounds, and 1 assist per game. Look, Summer League, everyone is trying to ball out. So I would say take these stats with a grain of salt. But Chris, we were all speculating on what Isaiah Roby can provide for this team if he was to provide anything, and just a little underwhelming during the Summer League.
Yeah, you said it. That's the perfect word to describe Isaiah Roby Summer League. Underwhelming. Considering he's a player who has some experience at the NBA level, you kind of expected him to be aggressive, kind of like just show more than 8.3 points, 5.3 rebounds, and 1.7 assists. I know it's been mentioned out in the wild that he's recovering from an injury. He's just kind of getting started again after being hurt. But, you still wanted to see a little bit more from him, especially with the Knicks considering him for the backup power forward spot. And, do you think he showed enough?
What's enough? Like enough to give us 5 to 10 minutes a game?
Exactly. Yeah. Because I think that's what the Knicks are looking for,
I came into this like, just look, the rotation is set. Roby will just be at the end of the bench, and I don't think he'll play. He'll just be at the end of the bench if he'll even make the team. Knicks has signed some two-way guys today that we'll touch on as well. But Roby, I just came into it with low expectations. I did realize that he's coming off that injury, and I just think that overall he wasn't going to get, playing time on the Knicks. If he was to ball out, that would be a different story. But, Roby, he didn't impress me, man. I mean, he can spread the floor. He can, he's athletic. He can, defend a little bit, but he just, it didn't really impress me.
Yeah, likewise. I mean, I do like some things. He can play with his back to the basket. He has a little bit of a post game, and like you said, he could spread the floor. We didn't get to see it too much, but he did hit a couple threes. Who knows? It's probably a decent player for us to have at the power forward spot, but hopefully the Knicks can bring in another vet to kind of just secure that position for us.
Yeah, for sure. So a few days ago, Evan Fournier had an interview with, I forgot who it was, but let me just pull up who it was with so I don't get yelled at. Basketballnews.com. I don't know who he had the interview with, But Chris, he lashed out. He really lashed out on the New York Knicks. There was comments in there saying that him and Derrick Rose looked at each other saying, what the hell are we doing here? There was comments in there saying that him and Tom Thibodeau don't really have a relationship. And there was also comments in there suggesting that he would like to get traded to San Antonio. It would be a fresh start, and then it would be a disaster if he was to stay on the New York Knicks. He in the article he said, quote, "You want to spit on everyone. You have hatred." Derrick Rose and I looked at each other and said to each other, "What the hell are we doing here?" during the 5-on-5 practice. Just some strong comments from Fournier. And my whole take on that is, if you were playing well, obviously you would have stayed in the rotation, right? If you were playing well, we started the season with him as a shooting guard. We weren't playing well. Fournier took a massive step back defensively, and he had Quentin Grimes on his ass just waiting to take his spot. And Quentin Grimes outplayed him in practice. He outplayed him during the season. I mean, Fournier never played, but when the Knicks, look at it from the Knicks side, Chris, when the Knicks have a budding starter in Quentin Grimes is ready to take that opportunity from Evan Fournier, and he did. You know, Evan Fournier, he didn't pout. We didn't see it. But now he's pouting when the season's over, and now it just seems like he wants to get the heck out of here, right?
Yeah, I think that's really what this is all about, because like you said, we didn't hear about any of this, until now, basically, when the offseason is pretty much in swing, trades are being made left and right. And we've even wondered, why is Evan Fournier still on the Knicks? Obi Toppin is gone. Why is Evan Fournier still here?
Yeah.
And I think this is just his way of trying to say, no way, I'm not going into next season as a Knick. I'm not sitting on the bench. I'm just going to make some noise, put the pressure on the Knicks to get me out of here. That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah. Likewise, let's hit some of these comments. Jake, what up in the chat, man? Knicks are nice, always here supporting. Knicks won two-a-day, says Nathan Knight, ? Eyes emoji. Yes, Nathan Knight. That's the kid the Knicks signed the two-way with, right?
Yes.
Is that Nathan White? Yeah, Nathan White's correct. From Minnesota. He's a forward/center. He can shoot it a little bit. He's athletic. The Timberwolves fans that I've seen on Twitter saying that he's a pretty solid player. So Knicks signed him to a two-way. They re-signed Trevor Keels to a two-way, who didn't really impress in the summer league, and they signed Jalen Martin to a two-way contract. So all the two-way guys are locked up and loaded. But yeah, let's get back to the Fournier stuff. It's just the only trade out there right now that makes sense for me is the San Antonio Spurs. I just think that unless there's a bigger trade, do the Knicks dare to bring him back into training camp? Look, Fournier, I'm sure if he'll be back, and I'm sure if the Knicks brought him to training camp, he'll just be professional about it and just put his head down and sit at the end of the bench, and then, probably pout when the Knicks get rid of him. But these comments, Chris, hold on, let me pull up this graphic. Oh, that's a Fournier trade. Sorry. That we'll get to in a second. But yeah, let's just go through the Fournier trade. So this is the Fournier trade that I came up with that only makes sense right now to me. It's Knicks get Doug McDermott, and they give away Evan Fournier in a 2024 second round. You may have to give up 2 second-round picks for the Spurs to even give up Fournier. But Fournier, he hinted in this article, Chris, that the San Antonio Spurs are a team that he'll be interested in.
Yeah, this makes sense. We get back Doug McDermott. He can shoot it. I just don't know. I don't know if the Spurs are still willing to do this. Granted, they just got, I believe, Reggie Bullock recently.
Yeah.
If I were the Knicks, honestly, I wouldn't trade Evan Fournier just because of, all this coming out and basically, spilling blood everywhere. But
yeah.
If I were the Knicks, I think I would just keep him on the books. Maybe just pay him to stay away from the team, if anything, if he's going to be a menace. But
let him pout,
like you said.
Let him pout.
Yeah, let him pout at his home in New York City.
LV Live in the chat says Fournier went back to France and started talking crazy. He went back home and just started laying haymakers on the New York Knicks. talk crap about Tom Thibodeau. Seems like everyone who leaves the Knicks has something to say about Tibbs. They don't like his work ethic, blah, blah, blah. But it is what it is. And then he was talking about the way the whole situation was handled. He said if he wasn't, look, they asked him if Fournier would continue his career with the Knicks. He said, I would be shot. I'm going to get traded. It's not possible otherwise, or I'd be stuck. Pretty much saying that his career would be over because if he was to remain on the New York Knicks, he would not play. Now, Evan Fournier, my question to you is, where are you going to go to that you're going to play minutes? I mean, you're going to go to the Spurs and play over Reggie Bullock. We could look back at that couple of years ago. The Knicks, it just seems like they should have just re-signed Bullock, Chris, and just let Fournier go somewhere else. They signed Fournier to this massive contract, and we could have used a Reggie Bullock, but you're not going to go to San Antonio and get minutes. You just go to San Antonio and just mentor Victor Wembanyama, really, which is cool. But I just don't like the whole going to France, spilling all the beans, talking crap about the New York Knicks, talking crap about your head coach. It just rubs me off the wrong way, because I thought all along that Evan Fournier was a professional about things. And then he just went and did this, and it just gets me upset that he went about it this way.
Yeah, I mean, it was shocking to me. I mean, because what? Not too long ago, we were talking about how he's been a professional, how he's been a team first guy, never causing any issues, even though he lost his spot. And then, bam, this article comes out, and he's in France, talking all kinds of just no relationship with Thibodeau, wants to spit on everybody. Also shed a little bit of light saying, me and Rose were just like, what are you doing? Which is crazy, because it shows that even with Derrick Rose, there was a little bit of tension there. So I guess not everybody was on board with the decisions that Tibbs made. And I mean, that's the tough thing about being a coach, right? You got to make tough decisions. I'll call it tough when it comes to Rose, but again, like you said, when it comes to Fournier, he was giving us nothing out there. He was a turnstile.
What was he doing? What was he doing for us?
He was not hitting his 3-point shooting, which, he wanted to mention that also, that, he went from being, what was it, top,
yeah, I can bring that top 10 up as well,
or something like that.
Which, to be fair, okay, this is the quote. He says, quote, if you want to trade me with a good return, why didn't you use me? I was coming out of a season where I was 4th best 3-point shooter in the league. Why not take advantage of it? When he said that, it's fair. I agree with everything he just said there, but, defensively, he was just shot. What was the thing the Knicks were lacking? Shooting. And Evan Fournier was a great shooter for them. When he was hitting his shots, he was, like you just said, 4th best 3-point shooter in the league. The Knicks have a history of, these assets just being crap, man. I mean, Fournier, Obi Toppin, they wait too long, and then these assets are, what are we going to get for Fournier? What do we get for Obi Toppin?
Yeah.
2 second-round picks.
I mean, if let's be real, if early on in the season, and I mean the season for the Knicks early on was not looking great. So if he was hitting his shots, he was hitting the 3-pointer, you can kind of get away with his defense, right? Because he's making up for it offensively. And in this case, he just fell off the planet as far as his game went. He wasn't giving us offense. He couldn't defend. And like you said, you had somebody like Grimes on his heels, able to defend, able to hit more threes than he did. So it's the no-brainer he had to sit. I mean, I understand being upset about losing your spot and all that, but I don't think he had to go all the way to France and France and just start bad-mouthing the Knicks, Maybe he thought it wouldn't get over back to New York or something. I don't know, but
he knew.
If he stays on the Knicks, man, and he shows up, that's just gonna be awkward as hell.
That's the thing. He's, we can go back to the Obi Toppin situation when, we don't know if he leaked the audio, but, it's been rumored that his team leaked the audio to get the heck out of here. And then Fournier now with these comments to get the heck out of here. But I just feel like the only trade out there for the New York Knicks that makes sense is the San Antonio Spurs. But the Spurs, they got Bullock. Yes, they have McDermott to send back. But if McDermott's going to come here, will he play? No. It seems like the rotation is set with, our 9 guys. We have the starting five, and then we have Quickly, Hart, DiVincenzo off the bench, Hartenstein, and then the starting five. That's 9 guys right there. Tom Thibodeau going to a 10-man rotation. Do you really think that Tom Thibodeau is going to go to a 10-man rotation? No. So the only reason why I think the New York Knicks get rid of Fournier is because they make him just shut up, please. Just go to San Antonio. Just do what you got to do there. Mentor Victor Wembanyama. It stinks because Fournier, that his time here has been up and down, right? We all remember the game versus Celtics where he went bananas. Everyone thought we had our shooting guard. He was like hitting every damn shot, and then it just fell off. And then, Quentin Grimes was right on his heels. And credit to Quentin Grimes, man. Back on his heels, balling out. He used to have an injury-prone history, but then last year he was healthy for the most part, and Quentin Grimes showed signs of life last year. If we didn't have Quentin Grimes, I can understand where Evan Fournier is coming from a little bit, but dude, we got Grimes, Hart. Those guys are light years better than you, man. Come on.
Yeah. And I mean, all in all, Evan Fournier, he's an NBA player. He wants to play, and that's pretty much what this all boils down to. This is basically his trump card, basically saying like, hey, get me out of here. He's probably surprised, as many of us are, that he's still on the Knicks at this point in time, and he's trying to force his way out. But again, if I'm the Knicks, that salary is, it's valuable to me, whether it's in a trade or, maybe you just hold on to him till trade deadline or something like that, until something materializes that is going to help us.
Yeah.
I wouldn't just go off and just ship him away for a bag of chips or something. You've held on to him this long, might as well just hold on to him until something of value presents itself.
I was listening to Zach Lowe, and he said the Knicks value the Fournier contract. They don't want to just, trade it just to trade it. They value that. They don't want to use it as a throw-in. They want to use it as a bigger package. So, I mean, if he's talking like that, you just have to wonder, do the New York Knicks keep him around until the trading deadline when, stars become available and the Knicks possibly make that splash? Or do they just trade him during the summer and just let him go on his way? But, I honestly think if you were to ask me, what do you think is going to happen? Right now, I would say that he's going to be a Knick come training camp. I mean, the odds are that he's going to be a Knick. I mean, what would you say? Like, what would there be odds do you think he's going to be a Knick come training camp? Because where is he going to go? Like Spurs, yeah, but
Yeah.
the Spurs, if you're San Antonio, right? They see these comments come out. They see that he's upset. They're like, we know you want to get off of Evan Fournier, so give us a protected first-round pick or give us 3 second-round picks for taking this contract off your books. What's the incentive for San Antonio to taking Evan Fournier besides the whole Victor Wembanyama stuff? They're from France. He has Tony Parker. He has everybody over there helping him out.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I think Fournier is trying to use this as leverage to kind of be like, yo, get me out of here. And like you said, this kind of like opens up the doors for teams to be like, oh, look, you got a little bit of, an issue over there with Fournier. Instead of us giving you X, Y, and Z, how about you give us this?
Yeah.
Give us a pick to get off of Fournier. And I just think that kind of hurts Fournier in his request for a trade almost, because I don't think the Knicks are going to do that. I think they would almost rather just pay him to stay away from the team, if anything, and just, again, wait till whatever presents itself, whatever trade, whatever deal they want to make presents itself, so that they can include Fournier's salary in that. I think this Knicks regime just has a vision for what they want to do with that salary, whether it plays out or not, but I don't see them budging and just giving it away for nothing.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting what happens from now until September and whether or not the Knicks, get off of Fournier's contract. Obviously, we'll be on here as soon as they do. If they do, we'll be on here talking about it. But I wanted to circle back to, just, what has gone down. Summer League is now over, Chris. It's like the dog days of summer in the NBA. Not much going on. We still have the James Harden situation in Philadelphia. It's looking like he just doesn't want to be in Philadelphia. Damian Lillard still hasn't been traded. That we still have to, Come on now. I just think that needs to it's like the Donovan Mitchell trade all over again. I just think that it's going to
Oh,
happen. It's just everyone seems like they're on vacation now, and then probably end of August, middle of August, it will start picking up again. So the question I have for you, Chris, is what do you think of this Knicks team? Do you think they improved? Do you think they, kind of, stayed the same a little bit? Like, what do you think their positioning is in the Eastern Conference?
I think as far as positioning, if you want to go, I guess seed wise, I'll say we're still in that maybe like that fourth seed range. I think we did good in that. We got DiVincenzo, which should bolster our 3-point shooting. And like I mentioned, if there's no more moves coming, you know, we're just banking on Brunson having another great season, more chemistry with Julius Randle coming back to form, Quentin Grimes, just improving, Josh Hart
Yes.
for a full season.
Yes.
I think we're in a good spot, man. I think we're in that fourth to fifth seed.
Yeah, like you just said, we're gonna have Josh Hart for a full season. We're gonna have Dante DiVincenzo. Manu quickly should be better. It's to be determined if he gets that contract extension or not. It's going to be interesting. If he doesn't, would he play with a chip on his shoulder? Quentin Grimes, I expect to have Chris, if you were to tell me between Quickly, Grimes, Barrett, who do I expect to have a big season this year? It is Quentin Grimes, man. This guy shot 39% from three last year. He's improved every year. Stayed healthy last year. I just think he has all the tools in his bag. I just love Quentin Grimes. I just feel like he's due for a big year. Pair that with Jalen Brunson. If he can give us 80% of what he gave us during the playoffs, Chris, when he was simply incredible, obviously that would catapult us into the top four of the Eastern Conference. And when you compare that with Julius Randle, and if he gives us 80% of his season last season, that'll be great. Mitchell Robinson, obviously, was a great last year on the defensive end, offensive rebounding, one of the best offensive rebounders in the NBA. So looking at this graphic, Chris, right now I have top 6 in the Eastern Conference that I put together. Right now I have Boston as number 1. Going to be interesting, but I still think going to be interesting how they look without Marcus Smart. Obviously, they traded away Smart to the Memphis Grizzlies, and then they got Kristaps Porzingis, who I wanted the Knicks to get, but oh well. Then
Yeah.
then the Miami Heat right there at number 2. The reason why I have Miami Heat at number 2, you can flip flop them between the Milwaukee Bucks, but I just feel like Damian Lillard is going to go to the Miami Heat, so that will put them in the top 3 in the Eastern Conference. Chris doesn't think that they'll be in the top 3. So where do you have them?
I mean, I don't know, man. Now that I'm thinking about it even more, I mean, you could probably say the Knicks could maybe even be the third seed here. I mean, I think if the Heat get Damian Lillard, obviously it's gonna help them. Don't get me wrong. Lillard's a hell of a player. He has plenty in the tank. Pair him with Jimmy Butler and Bam, and that's a trio right there. But I also feel like they've lost a lot of shooting already, and they're gonna lose more shooting once they trade for Lillard.
Yeah,
Because
Struce,
Tyler
Vincent,
Hero, yep,
Hero.
they're Hero. They're not gonna be there. So it's pretty late in the game now as far as acquiring players. There's not that much left out there, in my opinion. Could they piece something together? I mean, could they get some pieces back that will help them with their 3-point shooting? I guess so, but then they got to piece it all together. Chemistry is big in this league. So
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, I just think that the Heat, maybe number 2 is a bit generous, but I think they could be as low as fifth even.
I just feel like that fit is perfect, man. Dame, Butler, Bam. I mean, you got this scoring point
I
guard
mean, it sounds nice.
in Dame. You got the hard nosed, tough player in Jimmy Butler, and then Bam Adebayo was simply incredible. But yeah, it's all about depth in this league, and they lost Vincent, Struce, and they're going to lose Hero. So depending on where he goes, so yeah, I mean, but knowing the Miami Heat, they can freaking grab someone off the G League team, and he'll drop freaking 15 points in the playoff game and have the best game of his life. But other than the Heat, and then I had the Cavs at number 5. I like what the Cavs did, but I still think that the Knicks are better because I feel like the Knicks are just they have the Cavs number, man. Oh, ever since last season, yeah, they added Strus and they added the guy from Philadelphia, but I just feel like the Knicks are just better than Cleveland. And then the odd team that I have here at number 6, Chris, is Philadelphia. And
Yeah.
James Harden, where does he go? Does he go to LA? Does he stay in Philly? If he goes to LA, I don't think the Philadelphia Sixers are, your typically top 3 team in the East. They're gonna have Embiid, Maxey, and if they do a clear deal with the Clippers, they'll have Terrence Mann. And I just feel like the Sixers are number 6, Chris. I just feel like that could be where they land.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the Sixers, even if let's say they keep a James Harden, is he going to be locked in? Is he going to be motivated to play for that team?
Yeah.
He's been making it known as of I think maybe last week. He said, "Hey, I still want to be traded. Don't forget about me. I want to go to the Clippers." And that's just not a good situation if they end up keeping him, in my opinion. So, you could kind of look at it anywhere from the 3rd seed and down. It's really up for grabs, really, if you think about it. I mean,
Yeah.
I would probably push the Heat in this graphic down to 3rd, and then those are
Milwaukee
the
too.
teams basically. Yeah, Milwaukee too, because I just think they pretty much stayed the same, and Milwaukee's just going to be a beast no matter what with Giannis. So I think anywhere from the 3rd seed in that scenario, down to 6, it could go either way. I do think the Sixers might be the 6th seed like you have listed here, just because of the unknowns.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they keep Harden, but 5th, 4th, and 3rd, who knows? Knicks could wind up in any of those positions, really.
Yeah, so Boston, I would, Milwaukee, Boston, or if Miami Heat get Dame, they can easily finish 1, 2, 3. Flip flop those how you would like. Depending on the regular season, the Knicks were a great team with Josh when they acquired Josh Hart. They were about 12 games over 500 with Josh Hart in the lineup. So, which is why I see them finishing above Cleveland, and I feel like this is the year where they finish above the 76ers. And then that brings us to the next question that we'll come up with, that we'll have in a second, Joel Embiid. But the rumors have it that Ian Begley came out with something saying that him and Daryl Morey had a conversation today, Chris, saying that all is well in Philadelphia, and we're staying. We're going to build around Joel Embiid. We're going to build a team around him. We're committed to him. And, I mean, come on, it's the NBA, Chris. When does that ever happen, right? I mean, if Embiid wants out, he's going to want out.
I always say where there's smoke, there's fire, man. I mean, Joel Embiid basically came out and said, hey, I want to win a championship, whether it's in Philly or somewhere else. You know, that opened the panic floodgates for
Oh,
the
man.
76ers. They called a meeting. They're basically trying to calm him down, reassure him, whatever the case may be. But let's be real. The results, it's all going to come down to the results.
Yeah.
How do they do this season? Is Joel Embiid happy? You know, it's a crapshoot for them, really. I mean, if Joel Embiid wants to be out after this season coming up, and let's say they just have a horrible season, let's say they keep Harden and let's say they don't even make the playoffs for whatever reason, you know, that's
That'll be a
gonna
disaster.
that's gonna be a disaster. They're gonna need to make some moves, and who's to say Joel Embiid won't be like, all right, you know what, I'm done here. I need a fresh start. You know, trade me. You never know.
I just feel like the Knicks are gearing up for somebody, and Embiid's name has been in the rumor mill for a while now. So if it's him, but like we've been saying, all these teams have assets, man. Nets, Thunder, all these teams are going to be clamoring at the doors of Philadelphia, saying we can offer more than the Knicks. It just has to be Embiid saying no, I want to go to New York, and we all know how that pans out. All the superstars, they get what they want in this league. So you want me to bring up some Embiid mock trades, Chris? You want to see some Embiid
Yeah,
mock
let's do
trades?
it.
Even though Begley
Let's
came
do it.
out with something, pouring cold water on it, kind of. But
Yeah, let's go through it.
here's some Embiid trades that I came up with. I have two of them for you. So I have the Knicks receiving Joel Embiid, 76ers receiving RJ Barrett, Mitchell Robinson, and 5 first round picks. So the Knicks are still keeping Quickly, They're still keeping Grimes. They're just giving the 76ers a lot more picks. My other trade proposal, I have the Knicks shipping off, I think, Grimes and giving the 76ers less picks. But this brings in Embiid. This pairs Embiid with Randall and Jalen Brunson, Chris, and we still have all the guys around them. And that's when you're going to be starting talking championship in New York City, man. When we get a guy like this.
Yeah, I personally love this. I will do this yesterday.
Yeah.
I will personally drop off RJ Barrett and Mitchell Robinson in Philly.
Wow. You'll drop them off like that. I'll be sad.
I will drop them off.
I'll be sad.
I'll be sad. I'll give them a high five or something, and then it's like, all right, man. Let Joel know that I'm here. I'll bring him over to the city.
I'll be sad. I'll be like, look, you guys have done a great job here. You've helped us build this thing. But right now, it's time for you guys to flourish somewhere else. And it's time for us to go for the damn championship. Coach here in the chat says, I think Embiid and the 76ers have squashed this rumor. Coach here says, my bad, Fred. What up, Coach? We just stated that Ian Begley kind of, squashed the rumor a little bit about Joel Embiid wanting out. But we also know how the NBA goes, man. I mean, Damian Lillard wanted to continue being a Portland Trailblazer. Kevin Durant loved his time in Brooklyn. He just wanted to stay there. Kyrie Irving, there was rumors that he'll resign in Brooklyn. He literally told the Boston Celtics crowd that he was going to resign with them, and then he literally got traded. So this stuff just happens. Embiid, to me, when he said that, whether it's with Philadelphia or somewhere else, that's when he possibly raised he raised the eyebrow of Daryl Morey, and he was like, look, man, you got a year, maybe 2 years, but I would give them a year. Because if the New York Knicks finish above them in this graphic here, if the New York Knicks finish fourth and the 76ers, they trade hard and they take a step back and they finish below the New York Knicks, Joel Embiid's going to be like, get me out of here. Like, I don't want to be here. So which is why I'm bringing up, trade rumors, RJ Barrett, Mitchell Robinson, 5 first. This other one, Chris, I have the Knicks giving up less picks, but I have Quentin Grimes going with Mitchell Robinson and RJ Barrett. They keep Emmanuel Quickly, but they give up 2 first-round unprotected picks, and they get Joel Embiid. So you're keeping 3 extra first-round picks, but you're giving them another promising guard in Quentin Grimes, along with Mitchell Robinson, RJ Barrett. Which one do you like better, this one or the other one?
I think I would do the other one because, I mean, that's what you have these picks for, right? It's to go after a superstar like a Joel Embiid who can just, change the franchise and bring you to that next level, right?
It's a crapshoot.
And I think that's what you're getting. Yeah, that's what you're getting with Joel Embiid. I mean, the Knicks have so many picks. Why not do the first one and still be able to keep Quentin Grimes? That's why I'll go with the first one. I think with this one, they will still probably want a little bit more as far as picks, but I mean, I like them both, but I definitely will go towards the first one. If I can keep Quentin Grimes, I'll do it.
Yeah, they would probably ask for maybe one more first, and like pick swaps are like the thing now in the NBA. Let me get this pick swap here, pick swap there. They'll probably ask for these pick swaps along with another first, but look, Embiid, and you're still going to have Dante. You're still going to have Josh Hart. You're still going to have a bench. You're still going to have a starting 2. So this is what I think the Knicks are gearing up for. Giddy up. Giddy up.
Either Joel Embiid or, I mean, who knows who else is going to become available,
Not Cat, though. Coach Hier says in the chat, no. We are not Karl Anthony Towns. We do not want Karl Anthony Towns on the New York Knicks. But, yeah, these Joel Embiid rumors, something to watch this summer. I feel like, the stove is getting warm this summer. And I feel like during the season, it's cooking. And then I feel like next year, it's going to blow up. I feel like the 76ers are going to have to trade Embiid. And, a lot of people were saying, do you think the Sixers would trade Embiid in division? But then looking back at it, they traded James Harden to the Brooklyn Nets. As long as whoever has the best package available, I think Daryl Morey would trade him to the New York Knicks. So I don't think being in division, in division, out of division, I think if the Knicks offer 5, 6, 7 first round picks. If they beat out everyone else, they're gonna get Embiid.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, that's what they want is the best return for the player. If somebody's willing to go overboard for somebody and give them what they want, that's what they're gonna go with, in my opinion. Whether that's in division, maybe you pay a little bit extra, who knows? But you know, it's interesting. I mean, I know that this rumor pretty much got squashed. Like you mentioned earlier with
Yeah.
Ian Begley just dousing it with water,
Mm-hmm.
but who's to say? Let's say the 76ers trade James Harden. He goes to the Clippers. They try to build around Embiid the best they can. Let's say they don't make the playoffs, and then James Harden, Embiid is there watching James Harden in the playoffs with the Clippers. You're not gonna tell me Embiid's gonna be happy with that. He's probably gonna be like, "Damn, Harden went to the Clippers. And look, he's in the playoffs. Shoot, I don't want to be here." You never know. You never know what these guys are thinking.
Yeah.
They could say one thing 1 second, and the next, they're asking for a trade, a la Kevin Durant.
Exactly. There's a scenario where the 76ers could have, I think, 2 max slots next year. Harden, expires. Obviously, they have to figure out if they want to extend Maxey. But will Embiid just be like, hey, yeah, the free agency class next year is not that great. So Embiid, to me, is a name to watch. And I feel like the New York Knicks are watching it closely. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter, Chris, talking about Embiid is not the guy to go for because of his knees. They don't want to go for him because of his playoff performances, lately haven't been that great. Obviously, during the regular season, he's been awesome. But during the playoffs, he's, kind of taken a little step back. And I just feel like that could be due to his body kind of, shutting down on him. His knees have been not good to him in years past. This past season, he got hurt versus the Nets and just wasn't the same after that. So I feel like they bring up a good argument as well. And then considering the fact that Embiid's knees, will they hold up?
Yeah, I mean that's the scariest thing when it comes to big men, right? I mean, when we had KP, that was his legs, right? Where's his knees? Was his ankles? Where are they going to hold up?
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing with Embiid, and that's the gamble you have to take for a player of his magnitude, in my opinion. You can't really worry about that. If you think about all the star players that were available, you got Paul George, Levine out there, all these guys, KP before he signed with the Celtics, all these guys have some type of history when it comes to injuries.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're never gonna find. I mean, I won't say you're never gonna find, but the majority of the time, these players are gonna come with some type of baggage when it comes to injuries, and Embiid is no different. But when he's healthy, when he's right or close to healthy, he's a force, man. And whether that
He's
means you have to maybe limit his minutes, which I don't know if it happens under Thibodeau, but that's a story for another time. But I mean, it is fair. It is fair to be worried about it. But I just think when you have the chance, or if you have the chance to bring in a player of that caliber, you got to go for it.
You want a hot take right now? This is based on
What you
nothing.
got?
It's just based on a feeling. You bring up Tom Thibodeau. One more year
Yeah.
left on his contract, Chris. One more year left. And I feel like this next season will be his last season. But I feel like he'll go out
Ooh.
like he won't go out on bad terms. I just feel like the Knicks will realize that we've hit our ceiling. Thank you, Tom Thibodeau, for doing such a great job. This is no shade at you. You've helped us build a culture here, but we want to take that next step, and we don't think having you as a head coach would achieve that goal. So I just feel like Tom Thibodeau, I feel like this is his last season, man. I just get that feeling that the Knicks are gonna go the Golden State route. You know what the Golden State did with Mark Jackson? They got rid of him. They bringing in a fresh young new cat in there, Steve Kerr, and then he turned everything around. I just feel like whether that's guys on the bench, Johnny Bryant, who knows, but I just feel like at some point the Knicks are just gonna simply be like, "Thank you, man, but we gotta move on." That's my little hot take. I don't know. Could be wrong.
You know, I actually agree with you. I actually agree with you because I mean, sadly, that's kind of been the history when it comes to Tibbs. He gets you, really, really close,
Yeah.
and then it takes something else to get you to that next level. So what do you think? Would Tibbs go to maybe like a front office type of
It could,
role?
he could be. I mean, he could. The Knicks can be like, hey, we want to move you into some type of front office role. Steve Mills left. Obviously, we have Rosas there, Leon Rose calling the shots, but the Knicks can simply be like, hey, coaching, we want to go in a different direction. We want to go younger. We want to go to someone who relates to the players better. Maybe they'll hire, like I said, a Johnny Bryant. They'll hire within. Maybe they'll just move Thibodeau to the front office position and just go that route. But I just feel like if this season goes, same thing. We win a lot of 45 to 50 games, first, second round of the playoffs, and Tom Thibodeau's extension, they haven't extended him yet, and you see what these coaches are getting. So, it was a good point that you made. I feel like they would do that to, kind of ease everything. They'll be like, no, we don't want you leaving, but we just want you getting out of being a head coach.
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret. Thibodeau always said the Knicks coaching job was a dream for him. Obviously he's realized that dream. He's had success here. I could see them moving him into the front office and somebody like you said, Johnny Bryant taking over.
Yeah.
Somebody young, somebody with fresh ideas. That's interesting, man. I mean, there's a lot of good coaches also available. A lot of good coaches out there that we can sign that have Knicks ties at that. So,
Yeah.
that's something to watch out for.
Coach here in the chat says maybe they are saving it for him. He said we still don't have a GM position. When Perry was here, it was still Leon. It was still Rosas. It was a lot of voices. Every time you hear Begley and all these reporters, I say a lot of voices in the Knicks front office. There's a lot of voices. So they still don't have, that could be it. They could be just saving that position for Thibodeau, just move him in there and, hire Johnny Bryant, man. He's been sitting there on the bench for a while now. I feel like I want to give Bryant a chance before I give someone else a chance. I really do.
Yeah.
I like Bryant.
Yeah, I mean, there were teams that were interested in Johnny Bryant, and luckily he stayed with the Knicks, and that's a good point that coach brought up there. I mean, Thibodeau does have experience. When he was with Minnesota, I believe, didn't he have some sort of a
that
coach
he was in
slash?
I think he controlled that Jimmy Butler and a Jimmy Butler trade to Minnesota. I think he controlled.
Yeah,
he
so
pushed that button. So he
had some power out there. So it's not like it's not beneath him to go into the front office, per se. So who knows? Maybe that's where this goes. I would love to see Johnny Bryant as the coach.
Yeah, he's been on our bench, man. He's been solid, man. You see him in Thibodeau's ear after every timeout, possession, just going up to Thibodeau. He's learning, man. I love Johnny Bryant. Nick Night says Rosas just signed this new kid. He's talking about the New York Knicks signing Nathan Knight on a 2-way contract. He's 25 years old. He spent the last 2 seasons with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Seeing Minnesota Twitter, seeing, they're sending their well wishes to Nathan Knight. They like the kid. Obviously, Minnesota has a glut of centers. Towns, they got a lot of people, and they just, had no place for Nathan Knight. So Nathan Knight, Roby, whoever it is. But I like this signing. 2-way contract, nothing too crazy. 2-way contracts are filled up now. You have Jalen Martin, then you also have, who's the other guy that's escaping me, Chris? Summer League, Keels.
Trevor Keels, yes.
Trevor Keels. So Nathan Knight, Minnesota, Chris, they're taking a shot on him. You know what I think? I've been meaning to bring this up, but I feel like the New York Knicks, when they traded Josh Hart, let's go back to the trading deadline. They have 2 first-round picks. They trade their own first-round pick for Josh Hart. They have the Dallas pick in the bag. At that time, it was, 80% chance that it will convey, Chris. It was a high percent chance that pick was going to convey. So they knew that they weren't going to take 2 players in the first round and have them in their rotation. They gave away their first pick, and they said to themselves, we still got the Dallas pick. If we were to improve this team, we'll use the Dallas pick to do that. And then what does Dallas do? They tank. They tank.
Bench their players
We
on
lose,
purpose.
We lose the pick. We don't have a pick. And I truly feel like the Knicks were content in bringing Toppin back. I do. I feel like they were going to give him another year, but I feel like Toppin's camp and Toppin were the one that would like, hold up here. I don't want to do this another year. I'm not doing this 10 minutes a game another year. And I agree with Toppin, but I feel like the Knicks, they did that Josh Hart trade in thinking that if Toppin wanted out, they would just draft a player with that Dallas pick. Dallas tanks. They lose that pick. Toppin wants out, possibly leaks the audio. Think about this offseason, Chris. If they had that 12, 13, 14 pick in the draft, it's a different summer we're talking about.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I was pretty upset when it came to the Mavericks thing. You know, they clearly tanked on purpose. You know, while they still had a chance to make the playoffs. So, you know, it does make sense if you really think about it. If they gave away that, you know, not gave away, but they traded that first for Josh Hart, they probably thought, hey, we got one in the bag. You know, we'll be able to still get a really good player, you know, of value around the 11th pick range. And, you know, that didn't go our way, unfortunately. But, you know, even going back to the Obi Toppin stuff, like, the more I think about it, the more it's like his camp definitely had to leak that, right? They had to. I mean,
they probably got the inclination that we're thinking about keeping you. We want you to stay around. And he was like, release the tape.
Yeah.
Release the tape.
I mean, there was that article also that, you know, the Knicks were, you know, they talked to Toppin, they were on the same page, and they were talking about, hey, we're gonna find you a bigger role, we're gonna get you more minutes, and if we can't, we'll help you. You know, We'll find a trade partner. We'll send you somewhere where, you know, we think you can thrive. You know, we'll help you out.
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously that audio leaks, you know, Obi basically bad-mouthing Tibbs, you know, another player bad-mouthing Tibbs. And boom, 2 seconds, right, for Obi Toppin going to the Pacers. So,
and it sucks because look at the NBA. Look how the NBA draft panned out.
Yeah.
Cam Whitmore kept falling. If the Knicks had a pick 15 to 20, who knows if they would have picked Cam. But I'm just saying, man, this summer would be totally different if, you know, that were to occur. But, you know, we have what we have now, Dante DiVincenzo, and I just feel like our rotation's set. So, you know, resetting the room. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up button. As always, we opened up with the Evan Fournier comments. Evan Fournier pretty much ripped the New York Knicks in France. He went to France and pretty much threw haywires to the New York Knicks. So we came up with a trade. Chris and I don't know if the New York Knicks are going to be able to trade Fournier now that he simply tanked his value. Look, his value was nothing, and he even brought that up as well. He said, if you were thinking about trading me, you should have played me more. But obviously, if the Knicks played Fournier more, Chris, I just feel like his value would have stayed the same, right? It wouldn't have been. I mean, he could have pulled a Duncan Robinson in the playoffs, but.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true, and don't get me wrong.
That's the one thing
I wanted to see him.
Yeah.
I wanted to see some Evan Fournier at that point because it was like, you know, hey, we need shooting. So if he can knock down some buckets, get him out there. Hell, I wanted to see Derrick Rose out there too. Unfortunately, we didn't get either of those. But you know,
if you were to blame,
I don't think he would have raised his value much.
Yeah, if you were to tell me if there was a blame, that would be the blame where Tom Thibodeau, when everyone was hurt, he just refused to go to Evan Fournier, refused to go to Derrick Rose. He refused to go to those guys. And, you know, many Knicks fans were just like, hey, we need shooting. Fournier's there, fresh. Rose is there, fresh. Why aren't you? He's just stuck in his way, man. He's just stuck in his own way. But if you were like, Fournier was right about that. Now his value is simply tanked. So we came up with this trade, Fournier, and a 2024 second round pick going to the Spurs, but we also talked about the Spurs are going to be sitting there like, look, we know you want to get rid of this contract, but it's expiring. You know, do the Knicks really want to get rid of it like this? Would this trade really benefit the New York Knicks? Maybe they'll make Evan Fournier happy. I'm sure they will make Evan Fournier happy. But how does it benefit the Knicks, Chris? If they just do this trade, they just get Doug McDermott. Does McDermott come in here and play?
I don't see him playing. I mean, I know he can shoot the
Maybe at the
ball.
four.
You know,
He's tough.
I know he's a good player. I mean, he's shown a little bit lately. You know, as of recent, that he can do a little bit more than just shoot the ball. Um, you know, the Knicks know his game well, in my opinion, but
Former Nick?
I don't really see him playing. You know,
Yeah, I mean, he's 6'7". You know, his defense is bad though. That's the thing. But yeah.
I mean, don't forget. I mean, the reason I say they know his game is because he used to be a Knick.
Once a Nick, always a Nick, man. Doug and McBuckets.
Yeah, man.
You know, Doug and McBuckets.
He definitely shoot it. It's just the way the team's currently constructed. We have a lot of just guards that are gonna play. You got RJ that's gonna play small forward. You got Josh Hart that's gonna play small forward.
Yeah.
And Tibbs values defense. So unfortunately, Doug McDermott is not a very strong defender. And I think that's where it throws a wrench into everything, when you're talking about a player coming to the Knicks, whether it's a vet, whether it's a rookie or whatever, defense. Can you play defense? Because if not, it doesn't matter who you are. Evan Fournier, Kemba Walker. The list goes on and on. I mean, if you can't play defense, you're not playing,
Yeah, and that's what Coach Chia said in the chat. There are no rotation minutes for Doug McDermott. So, look, do you guys think Fournier will be traded? I'm sort of leaning on the no side, man. I just feel like the Knicks are going to hold him until the trading deadline. Maybe, anything can happen during the season. A rotation spot can come up. Maybe the Knicks, I don't know. But I just feel like he put out these comments giving the Knicks a signal like, you better trade me, because it's not going to be come training camp. If he's not traded come training camp, I don't think he has it in him to like be an asshole. Like I don't feel like he's going to be an asshole to everybody,
I mean, I don't think it will be in his best interest to be that way, but I mean, it's just no secret that what he already said is gonna, can he come back and basically make amends? Sure, but it's still gonna be awkward in my opinion. I could see the Knicks basically saying, "Hey, you're making 18 mil. Here's a check. Go sit at home. When we find something for you, we'll let you know." Because do the Knicks really want to take the chance that maybe he shows up and does choose violence? Maybe he wants to, disrupt the chemistry the team has, or just make it tough. I don't think so, but hey, you never know, man. I mean, he did go out, in his hometown and basically just badmouth the entire Knicks regime. So,
bro,
anything's possible.
Quentin Grimes outplayed you, man. Evan Fournier. Mr. Yeah. Fournier, Quentin Grimes outplayed you. If you wanted to play, you should have played better, man. Simple as that. It is what it is. Now he has no value. So we'll see what the Knicks do on that front as well. It is July 19th, summer. Not much going on. So Chris and I are just chopping it up. Rumors, Joel Embiid rumors. We were talking about the Eastern Conference standings earlier. I see the Knicks as a top 4 team in the Eastern Conference. The Knicks should be well on their way to being that as well. I feel like they're better than Cleveland, and I also feel like if James Harden goes to Philly, gets out of Philly, I feel like the Knicks will be better than the 76ers, and then what they do in Philly will be interesting to see. Chris, Quentin Grimes, Emmanuel Quickly, RJ Barrett, which one of those 3 are you not trading under any circumstances. Which one of them is your guy? And I feel like
That's
I
tough.
know where you're going with this.
That's tough because
Consider their
I
contracts.
really
Consider their contracts. Barrett signed a contract. Quentin Grimes still has one more year until he's extension eligible. And Emmanuel quickly is due for a
all right.
contract.
So I'll say this: I like RJ Barrett a lot. I'm rooting for him. I still want him to become something with the Knicks. You know, he showed good promise in the playoffs. But if a big trade were to come about, I could see him being included just because we have so many guards, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that leaves me with Quentin Grimes and Emmanuel quickly. And this is tough because I really like both players. I I might have to go with keeping Emmanuel quickly.
Okay.
I just
I thought you were
I
gonna
I
go
just feel
Grimes.
like I it's really close, man. I might have just teetered my way over to Emmanuel quickly, but I just feel there's something about Emmanuel quickly. I feel like he's a good worker. He works hard. Not to say that Grimes doesn't, but I feel like Emmanuel quickly has he's just gonna take another step. Maybe he won't be a star per se, but maybe just a notch below that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I just feel he can make that leap. You know, the way that he came, this past season and he just completely became a defensive menace from not being a defender,
Mm-hmm.
kind of just opened my eyes that man, this guy wants to make it. He has that drive. Because you usually don't see that. You usually don't see players just come in and go from being a negative on the defensive end to being like one of the best defenders that your team has, period. And that's saying something when you have someone like a Josh Hart and even a Quentin Grimes, again, another young player. But I think he has the tools to make another leap, in my opinion.
Yeah. I thought you were gonna go Grimes there. Steven, what's going on? Just chopping it up around about the New York Knicks tonight. I just asked Chris who would he keep between Quickly, Grimes, Barrett. He picked Emmanuel Quickly. If you were to ask me, it's a tough question because I want to say Quentin Grimes, man. Grimes has all the tools, great defender,
Yeah.
could shoot the three, high percentage, 39%. I believe he'll be in the 40s this year. And I just feel like he's athletic. He has all the tools. And then obviously what Barrett has shown us, he's averaged 20 points a game, took strides in the playoffs, inefficient shooting wise. If you're looking at it as a whole, right, I just feel like right now, who do you think fits around our current nucleus, which would be a Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, if he's still here. I feel like he's going to be here. I feel like he's not going to go anywhere. So who fits better with those guys, you know? And
Yeah, I mean, if you put it like that, then I lean towards Grimes simply because the fit is more obvious as far as like position because you're thinking about quickly. You don't really think him as like a shooting guard per se. That's more of Grimes's role. So you could do a Jalen Brunson, a Quentin Grimes,
yeah,
whoever at small forward, RJ, I guess if you're keeping him. It's just more of a natural fit in that sense. Where quickly, yes, he's on the smaller side, so you'd have to play him as a point guard, and you're not gonna pick, quickly over Brunson at this point.
true. And as long as Brunson is on a team, Quickly is going to be on the bench. And, you know, I just feel like Quickly, I love the kid, man. He took strides. Like you said, he plays his heart out.
Yeah.
Every year he's improved. He's gotten this past season, he took massive steps. But Steven says I keep Grimes. Quickly has to go if he wants 5 years, 100 million, or 4 for 80. No, thanks. That's something to think about as well, man. I mean, I feel like Quickly is one of those guys where you can. I wouldn't say he's replaceable. I don't want to get, I don't want to get clipped and say Quickly is replaceable. I feel like you can find a Quickly better in the free agent market. Like look, rather than like a guy like a Grimes or a Barrett, like a big wing like a Barrett. And I just feel like Quickly's what he has working against him is his size. You
Yeah,
know,
but even when you say that, you know, uh, quickly is kind of like a throwback in my opinion. Well, maybe not a throwback, but when I think of quickly, is obvious. Like you think of a so like I said, I feel like he'll make strides and maybe not be a star, but a notch below that.
hmm
And he's like a Lou Williams, a player that he's actually looked up to. It's been noted in the past that's a player he's looked up to and studied his game, and that's pretty much what I see him becoming. Um, just that instant offense, with the ability to defend at a very high level. I mean, if you could have a six man like that coming off your bench, you know, that's the intriguing part about Quickly for me. We all know he wants to start. We all know that he has, dreams of starting and being a starter, which unfortunately with Jalen Brunson, this is where you see the path for Quickly, being traded somewhere. But, if I had the chance to lock, I mean, I know Steven said, don't give him 5 years, 100 mil or 4 years or 80, but I think 4 years and 80 mil might be,
I think that you
a
do
team
that.
friendly deal.
You do
That
that.
that to me, that's like, I would do that.
You look at the
I would do
market.
that. That means to me Quickly, that's just that price is going to go higher and higher and higher as the years go by, as the CBA takes into effect. I mean,
Steven, what you
that's a
want to
team
do is
friendly
you want to look at the percentage of what the player is making for the from the salary cap. So, quickly 4 years, 80 million. The percentage is not going to be that much. 7
deal.
to 10% of what the full salary cap scale. So I feel like that's a bargain. For quickly, and the salary cap, like you said, Chris, is going up.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I just think if you can lock Quickly for something like that, I would do it. That's a bucket coming off the bench for you. Um, God forbid Jalen Brunson gets hurt. That's somebody who knows your offense and can run the team. We've seen it. You know, he's only going to get better. I only have good things to say about Emmanuel Quickly. I know he disappeared in the playoffs. He got hurt, but I just think that dude is going to get better and better and better. He's just a worker, man.
He is, and Begley came out saying that the Knicks were, disappointed in Quickly's playoff performances. But I feel like a couple of contracts that got signed this summer, Chris, that actually hurt Emmanuel Quickly was Austin Reeves signed a what was it, four
Yeah.
years, $50 million contract with the Lakers,
Man, I thought he was going to get 100 easy.
and
Easy.
and you can make the argument he's balled out in the playoffs. He shoots the three at a high percentage, and he's scrappy on defense like a Quickly. So, and he got 4 years, 50
Yeah,
million. So you look at contracts
that's
like
true.
that, and you're like, if we can get Quickly for four for 50 billion, I'm doing that today. And
Yeah.
then you have
Yeah.
what's his name in Atlanta, Murray signed a 4 year, $120 million contract. So I feel like the Knicks have to. I feel like they have a price in mind. Maybe they want to go. I feel like they just look at this Reeves contract, Chris, and I just feel like, when he signed that 4 for 50, they got him on such a damn bargain, bro. I was like, wow, if we can get Quickly on that, sign me up, man.
Yeah, I think that's where conversations end up going, somewhere in between those two, the Murray and the Reeves deal. That's why I say 4 for 80, 4 for 85. That might not be out of the picture. Does Quickly's camp take it? That's a different story. But if I could get him for something like that, man, I would lock him up.
Do you feel like which side do you feel like would take this down to the wire? I feel like it would be more Quickly side that would take this down to the
Yeah,
wire because I feel like the Knicks, bro, man, 4 for 60, I would do that in a heartbeat. Steven says 350 in the chat, three for like 58, 3 for 60. I would throw that at him, but when you get
yeah.
it to 80 to 100 million, that's when I start. I don't know, man.
I don't know. I mean,
But I would do the
we
80.
were always saying
I'll do the 80.
we were always saying it's either going to be Obi or it's going to be Quickly. One of those is going to have to go. Obi is gone. I feel like they don't want to. I feel like the Knicks wouldn't want to lose both those guys. Um,
True.
granted, now they do got DiVincenzo. There's kind of, if you could say, kind of redundant pieces, but
They all
I
do
just think
different things.
right, exactly. So I just feel like Quickly, they know what they got in quickly. They might be upset or disappointed in his playoff performance, but he's only going to grow. Quickly has gotten better. Like I said, he went from being a negative defensively to just a juggernaut. What's his next, you know, what's his next step? Could it be on the offensive end? Is he just going to be a lights out shooter plus a great defender? Come on. That's what you want. Whether he's undersized or not, he can get his shot off. He's shown it.
For
That's a
sure.
guy you lock down, in my opinion.
Yeah, and whether you just said whether we have some redundant pieces, I feel like they all do different things, but we'll quickly get that opportunity to have have a better year than last year. You're gonna have guys like Hart for the full season. We didn't have Hart half of the season last year. Hart and Quickly played well together and they meshed really well. But now you're gonna add a DiVincenzo in that mix. So I feel like if the Knicks were to get Quickly on like a 4 for 70, I would do that. But I just feel like Quickly's camp is they want more. I feel like they will want more. And I keep going back to the Austin Reeves contract. Lakers got a bargain with him. Reeves and Quickly. Reeves balled out in the playoffs, and you can kind of compare the two. They're similar players, but obviously they do different skill sets. Reeves is a pest on the defensive end as well, and he got 3 for 50 from the Los Angeles Lakers. So it'll be interesting, man. Let's hit some of these comments. Yeah. IQ wants to start on top of the money. Coach Hier says, Tyler in the chat, what's going on, says, I don't think that the extension gets done this offseason or just until, I think the Knicks take it up until the training camp. And I feel like I'm on your side too, Tyler. I just feel like it doesn't get done. I feel like if the Knicks will do it if it's 4 for 60, and they're going to compare the Austin Reeves. They're going to be like, look, Austin Reeves, similar player. This is what he got. This is what we're willing to pay you. If not, restricted free agency, man, and that's risky.
See, but yeah, I mean that's what I'm. You don't want to let him go to risk. I mean, maybe they do, and I mean it seems like at this point maybe they will, but then you risk the chance that a team is just going to go and say, let's say Quickly goes and balls out this season, takes that step that I'm thinking he's going to take, and just becomes a juggernaut on the offensive and the defensive end. Bona fide like 6-man,
yeah,
or else bona fide, basically maybe a notch below a star level player. Mm-hmm. You're going to have a team like the Rockets or something like that come out and give him 120, 140, something like that. Something crazy off the season he's going to have. Do you match that? Do you not match that? You let him go? That's the risk, These teams, we've seen it in the past. They'll give a player a huge contract, hoping that the Knicks won't match it. And that's the risk you take when you can possibly, yes. Yes. That's the first one that comes to mind. But yeah, you get a poison pill type of contract and then you lose that player, I wouldn't like to see that with IQ, especially if he does take the leap I'm envisioning him to take. But if you have the chance to lock him down for something like 4 for 80, again, that's a no-brainer to me. I know a lot of fans don't seem to like that, but in my opinion, I just think Quickly is just going to get better, man.
Yeah, I think 4 for 80 is more than fair for Quickly, and I feel like that's tradable. You got to think about that as well.
Yeah,
it's a tradable contract. Yeah. Knicks can, sign him to an extension, and then he'll have that poison pill for a little bit, and then be trade eligible. And if he's involved in one of those trades, if it's him, Barrett, Grimes, it's a tradable contract. Whether you don't really like the Barrett contract, but you like the Quickly contract, you can just go to the Quickly contract and just flip-flop in negotiations and just go from there. But Tyler in the chat says Quick's camp's argument against the Austin Reeves things is that you're paying IQ for what he can be. His ceiling is undoubtedly higher than Reeves. Is going to be 4 for 80. In my opinion, I think that's fair. 4 for 80 for Emmanuel Quickly is fair. Whether or not the Quickly's can, if Quickly, look, if you're Quickly, I would take that, man, because you can make the argument that his usage rate this upcoming season will be lower because of the DiVincenzo signing, of the, Josh Hart for the full year, even though Josh Hart and Quickly played well together. But you can make that argument. He can have a similar season, put up great numbers, and then go into restricted free agency, like you said, and you have that risk of losing him. With
Yeah.
a team with cap space, just throwing a lot of money in Manuel quickly, and that'll be the last thing. That'll be the last thing you want as a New York Knicks fan and in the front office, right? Losing Emmanuel quickly for nothing.
Yeah, especially if he has a great season, you're gonna be thinking back to this moment and be like, man, I should have gave him the extra, $5 million or whatever it would have been to lock him up. But you know, let's see. I'm sure they're having discussions. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's all types of communications around that, trying to extend them at whatever the Knicks deem to be fair value for him. Um, I personally would like to see it get done. I hope it does. Hopefully it doesn't go to restricted free agency, but you know, you never know with the business side of things. So if Quickly really wants to start somewhere, then he could be on his way out eventually.
Yeah, that's another thing as well. If Quickly wants to start, if he re-signs with the Knicks, he'll be behind Brunson for the foreseeable future. So we'll see on that front. Resetting the room a little bit. If you're new here, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, come join us here in the chat. We've been talking about the Evan Fournier comments about him blasting the New York Knicks, blasting Tom Thibodeau, and trying to figure out a trade avenue for Evan Fournier. We came up with the San Antonio Spurs. Obviously, he wants to go over there and mentor Victor Wembanyama and do what, he wants to do down in San Antonio. He mentioned them in the article, saying that San Antonio's, he'll be open to going to San Antonio. So they'll get Evan Fournier, and then Spurs will also get a 2024 second-round pick. They'll probably haggle the Knicks for another second-round pick. But if you're the Knicks, I don't know. I don't know if I'm doing this, man. I might just be holding on to him at that point.
Yeah, I think this does nothing for us.
You're just making him happy. You're just doing another favor. Yeah. You're doing another favor.
Exactly. Why would we do that? Especially after you trash talk us, all the way in France. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I'm tired of doing these favors. Obi Toppin, we traded him for a bag of peanuts. We got nothing for him. So I'm not comparing Evan Fournier to Obi Toppin, but I'm just saying, we did Obi a solid. Good for Obi. But why are we doing these guys solids, man? Come on.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's a business. Evan Fournier, you lost your spot to a young up-and-coming Quentin Grimes. You can't defend. You couldn't shoot. I mean, it would have been malpractice for Tibbs not to bench him. I mean, I think Tibbs gave him a fair shot to bounce back or show something.
Yeah.
And early on, it just wasn't it. So I get it. Evan Fournier is a ball player at the end of the day. He wants to play. He knows he can't play here in New York simply because there's better talent already there, But like you mentioned earlier, where is he going to go? What team is he going to go to and actually play meaningful minutes for?
I can't think of one. I really can't.
I don't want to sound like,
because that's what it seems like he wants to do.
Yeah, but I mean, what team? I mean, barring some crazy injury or something like that, who is he going to play for? I mean, he's not going to be a starter. And he's not going to be the sixth man.
I mean, if the Heat lose all their shooting, I can see them maybe taking a shot on Fournier if he gets waived or something. Something like that.
Yeah, but then again, you're talking about getting waived, though. I mean, that's, again, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's the biggest possibility for him.
Yeah, so we also talked about the landscape of the Eastern Conference. This is my top six. Chris thinks that Miami Heat's going to be the 10th seed in the Eastern Conference and not make the playoffs. But, flip-flop, Boston, Heat, Milwaukee. But this is with Miami Heat getting Dame. And you have Milwaukee still there. They'll probably be the 1, 2, or 3 seed. Flip-flop them. But I do think the Knicks will finish 4th. I feel like they're above Cleveland. And hot take, if you want to call this a hot take or not, I feel like they're better than the 76ers because it seems like James Harden wants out. Now, if James Harden stays there, it's a different story. But I also feel like, we can give the Sixers a run for their money, man, with Harden,
No, I mean, again, I think if Harden stays with all the drama, him making it known he doesn't want to be there, he's not going to be motivated. You're already seeing photos of fat James Harden running around. Once he gets traded, he'll magically lose 20 pounds overnight.
Fat Harden, boy.
I mean, yeah, Fat Harden's out there, man.
He
I
got the
mean,
fat suit
I
on,
don't know.
boy.
And you got Tobias Harris. There's drama there. Philly fans don't want him there for whatever reason. I don't know what's going on there. But like there's just a lot of dysfunction around the 76ers.
Yeah.
And if things stay status quo there, that's gonna affect them one way or another. They're not gonna have great chemistry in the same way they had in the past. I think it's just gonna be detrimental to that team. So one way or another, I see the 76ers falling in some regard.
Yeah, and obviously these teams in the hunt, you have the Hawks, Pacers, I think, I was putting the Indiana in the top 6, but then I was like, wait, who am I forgetting? Then I was like, oh, the 76ers are there. Then you have the Hawks, the Raptors, whatever the heck they're doing with their situation. Siakam, if he's going to get traded, if he's not going to get traded, if he gets traded to the Hawks, I feel like the Hawks could be a good team. Then obviously the Brooklyn Nets, I feel like these are going to be your teams, your top 6, 7 to 10, wherever you want to put these. So, yeah. Tyler said he said today that he will report to camp if he's not traded. He'll report to camp, the James Harden. He'll report to camp in that fat suit.
Fat Harden will report to camp.
He'll report to camp in that fat suit. Steven says Cavs 6 and 76ers 5. Yeah. I see that too. I see, Cavs signed Strus. They got, better as well. But, the reason why I put the Knicks over them, obviously, we beat them in 5 games in the playoffs. And I just feel like they're soft, man. I don't know. I don't like Cleveland. I don't like them. I feel like they got to get rid of that pairing of Garland and Mitchell. I don't feel like that's going to work for them. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Cavs. I think the Cavs did get better. Obviously, they like you said, they got Strus. I don't know how much better that makes them per se, but like I mentioned earlier, I feel like maybe you flip flop the Bucks with the Heat, and then anywhere from 2 to 6 is like up for grabs.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I do think the Knicks are kind of cemented in that 4th seed. 3 at the most, depending on how the trade pieces fall and how chemistry ends up working. But I don't know. I think overall though we definitely finish above the Cavs.
Yeah, I feel like that as well, especially full year of Hart, DiVincenzo. I'm excited, man.
Yep.
I really am, man. It's July, but I just want to get. I miss Knicks basketball, man. I do.
Yep, I'm ready for Knicks basketball to start, man. The summer league was underwhelming.
Oh, man, it was like a drag watching. Yeah,
I mean, I'll give it to the young guys. They showed pretty good chemistry for a bunch of guys that were together for probably a week at most. So
yeah, that's true.
Shout out to the Knicks summer league team. They left it all out on the floor.
And
shout out to Roby, underwhelmed us.
The summer, look, it's July, so things can change, man. Siakam could go to Atlanta. Like Harden can go to. If Harden goes to LA, man, what the Sixers are after that, who knows? But I just feel like you said, Knicks are cemented in that 4 or 5. Okay, I'll give you that 4 or 5, yeah. Like last season, 4 or 5, right? I don't see them finishing 6 to 10 at all. I don't. Stay healthy, Hopefully they stay healthy, but I just feel like this is
the key.
Yeah. And this is like a gist of what I feel like is going down. You brought up Roby. This was Roby. Summer League stats, 8 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist. All eyes were on Roby. We were hoping that, he would shine. Coming off an injury, have to, take that in consideration as well. So he did have some moments, game 2. He was playing really well. I saw highlights of him, taking his man off the dribble, shooting threes and whatnot, what we saw from his rookie season. But Roby, 8 points a game, 5 rebounds, 1 assist. Summer League is so hard to judge because so many guys want that opportunity and so many guys are ball hogs, and the plays that are being run out there are like not necessarily your normal plays. So it's like, you don't know.
Yeah. I'm not trying to be too hard on Roby. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, does he give you enough Did he show enough to justify 10 minutes if the Knicks decide to, you know, bring him on to the squad? Yeah. We all know Julius Randle's going to play the majority of every Knicks basketball game. So, you know, can he spell 10 minutes? Can Roby spell 10 minutes for Julius to get a breather on the bench? Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah. So shout out to Roby. We'll see. But I just feel like you say spell 10 minutes. I don't feel like he'll be in the rotation at all, man. I just feel like the Knicks are going to ride out with their small lineup: Hart, DiVincenzo, quickly, and Julius Randle will pay 35 to 40 minutes a game, and they'll roll with that. We also came up with some Embiid trades. Ian Begley poured cold water on this kind of, but if Embiid was to be available, these are, some of the trades that will likely be on the table. Barrett, Grimes, Robinson, 2 first. They'll probably want more than this. They'll probably want an extra swap, another first. Who knows? But then we also have this other one, and RJ Barrett, Mitchell Robinson. This is giving them more first-round picks for Joel Embiid, Chris. And look, the prize is out there. It's just a matter of when that guy is available for us to strike. That's all it is, man. That's all it is.
Yep. I would take the gamble on Embiid. I mean, if he's available, it would be nice to get him. If we can keep Quinn and Grimes in that trade scenario, I would do that. But yeah, man, I mean, like you said, Bagley doused that with water, cold water. And we'll see. I mean, anything can happen, in my opinion,
All right. One more thing before we get up on out of here. Appreciate every single one of you tuning in tonight. But I just wanted to bring up one thing that's been like sort of on my mind. Chris, the Knicks wanted Donovan Mitchell last year, right?
Yeah.
So they were willing to pair Mitchell with Jalen Brunson. And now Damian Lillard's out there for the taking. And now what are we hearing about Damian Lillard? The fit. So I just wanted to know, why are we willing to go after Mitchell but not Dame? And I know the contract, the age, but I just wanted to get that off my chest. So
I mean, I guess it's the age, right?
yeah,
I mean,
it's
you
the
don't want
age and the
to.
contract. I know.
Yeah, I don't think it's so much about the about it being Lillard, but it's just his age, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell is a bit younger, kind of fits with that age range that the Knicks are looking to pair with a Brunson, Randall, and all that. And then you got Dame, which he has a big contract, and who's to say how many years he has left, right?
True.
I think that's the biggest part about it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just, I just wanted to get it off my chest, but I know the age, the contract, and whatnot. Because I was hearing fit. The Knicks don't like the Dame and Brunson fit, but I was like, hold up, they like the Mitchell and Brunson fit. Why didn't they like the Dame and Brunson fit? So,
yeah, I don't know. I mean, if they traded for Dame, could it work? Yeah, of course. I'm sure. I mean, come on.
yeah,
I think Jalen Brunson can make it work personally.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I don't think they want that contract. And
I know.
The age.
I just love Dame.
Scares them away.
I just love Dame, man.
Yeah, I would have loved to have Dame, man. We wanted him so badly years in the past, and then Jalen Brunson showed up. So
that's true.
I mean, it's nice to say that we have a point guard.
It is. It's very nice to say that, and I feel relieved going into these seasons now where we have a legit point guard that plays extremely well in the playoffs. Chris, man, this has been fun. This has been episode 16, live edition of a podcast. Appreciate every single one of you tuning in. If you're just tuning in, just rewatch it. We talked about a lot of things: Roby, the Fournier comments, Embiid trade rumors, everything. Where the Knicks stand in the Eastern Conference, everything. So appreciate every single one of you tuning in. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel. As always, if you want to do so as well, join us for a membership. You get to unlock some features, some cool features as well. So I'm Anthony. That is Chris. Until next time, it is Let's Go Knicks. We'll be on here. Enjoy your summer. I know it's a long summer. Knicks basketball will be back before you know it.
Soon.
I'm Anthony. That is Chris. I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.
Peace.